The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the annual Regina Sports Hall of Fame Induction Gala. My name is Chris Hodges, and I'm very pleased once again to have been asked back to be your MC for the event. And I'll tell you, if 2020 seemed like it was the longest year of our lives, it seemed like 2021 went by in a bit of an eye blink. Wasn't that long ago, just 12 short months, that we were assembled next door, welcoming an induction in class that included 3 football coaches, a curler, a multi-sport builder, a multi-sport family, and a baseball umpire to our Hall of Fame family. And here we are again, celebrating the togetherness that comes with the Thanksgiving weekend to welcome yet another class of deserving inductees into the Hall. Every year I'm accused of repeating myself because I do say it every year, but this continues to be my favorite event on the Regina Sports calendar. Year after year, I get the chance to stand back on the edge of the stage and I listen to the stories of people in our community that make Regina the great sports city that it is. I hear the stories of struggle and sacrifice that many of the inductees make to achieve the greatest levels of success that they can attain in their chosen sport, and I am inspired. I listen to the stories of the will and the work that goes on behind the scenes to give kids in our city a chance to play and structure in their lives, and I am inspired. And I listen to the inductees talking about the importance of family and how sporting involvement in our community is often multi-generational. How the child flourishes because of the work of the parent and then grows older and pays that debt forward. And I am inspired. I'm honored to be up here tonight to make my tiny little contribution to the local sports community, to help recognize the extraordinary efforts of some ordinary people and to acknowledge their contributions to and their achievements in sport, both on the field of play and behind the scenes. Before we get too much further into the evening, I just want to invite Regina Sports Hall of Fame Board Chair Barry Tammon to the podium for some introductory remarks.
Thank you, Chris. Inductees, past inductees, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, it is my pleasure to extend a welcome to all of you here tonight and congratulate our athletes, builders, and patrons entering the Hall. Your accomplishments are so numerous, and you've brought recognition to yourself and this great city. To your family and friends, may I extend a warm welcome and hope you enjoy yourself tonight. I would also like to express our sincere appreciation to all of you here tonight, our patrons, our supporters, our membership, who have joined us to make this a very special evening. And thank you to our funders, Saskatchewan Lotteries, SAS Sport, the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame, Brianne Sieb, the curator is here tonight. Thanks, Brianne, back in the corner, for your ongoing support of our hall. To Access Communications, thank you for covering our event once again. Access has covered, I think, every one of our 19 induction ceremonies. To our hosts, Real District, for your support of the hall, and of course, they host us at the Cooperator Center next door. To our great MC, and Chris does a wonderful job. As a matter of fact, he does such a great job. We put him on the board so he wouldn't leave. Thanks, Chris, for everything you do. To Marlene Hoffman for helping out coordinate our tickets, and all our volunteer board members that helped put tonight together. To my fellow board members, all listed in the program, thank you so much. To our past board members who started this all rolling 19 years ago, thank you so much for your vision and your guidance and your dedication to sport in Regina. Once again, congratulations to all our inductees, and again, enjoy your evening. Thank you.
One of the hallmarks of the induction ceremony is that we always have former inductees present at the event, serving as the de facto welcoming committee for the newest class of honorees. And at this time, I would like to ask the ever-growing number of Regina Sport Hall of Fame current inductees to stand and be acknowledged by the crowd. Thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to have you here with us. Now, it doesn't come as news to anyone in this room that Regina is a great sports city, and the Regina Sports Hall of Fame induction dinner reminds us that those contributions to local sport matter. Tonight, we have a fantastic class of inductees whose faces and stories will be forever enshrined in our hall. The Regina Sports Hall of Fame mantra is honoring the past and inspiring the future, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce tonight's first inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Gary Brotzel and Bernie Eisworth, builders in the sport of baseball. Gary and Bernie founded the Regina Red Sox as a new franchise in the Western Major Baseball League back in 2005, with Brotzel serving as the team president and Eisworth as the general manager, roles that the two men still hold nearly 20 years later. Their work has largely been behind the scenes, responsible for the finances, the sponsorship, the player-coach recruitment that go along with fielding a college summer season team. They were responsible for the development of the board of directors to guide the team and have been front and center in the improvements to Curry Field, as well as spearheading the future plans for the city's baseball facilities. Under Gary and Bernie's oversight, the Regina Red Sox won their first league championship in 2011 and repeated as champions in 2012, with both Gary and Bernie filling various leadership roles within the league. They made a very conscious effort to retain the traditional, well-known Regina Red Sox moniker when they built the team back in 2004, and they have become strong supporters of local baseball programs ever since. Both men played the game a little bit as well. Eisworth's baseball was growing up here in Regina, while Brotzel excelled as a fastball pitcher in the Cupar area. And like so many of our past and present Hall of Fame inductees, Gary and Bernie became volunteer coaches when their children started playing sports, frequently coaching together and enjoying numerous successes throughout the decades. Most of the work that they have done over the years has seen them joined at the hip, and so it's only fitting that they are inducted into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame together. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Gary Brotzel and Bernie Eisworth.
We were separated for tonight's event. We were conjoined. Good evening, fellow inductees, guests, and Regina Sports Hall of Fame board members. I'd first like to congratulate all the inductees tonight. I personally know Jim, Dick, and of course Bernie. It's an honor to be going into the Sports Hall of Fame with all of you. It just makes it that much sweeter. Thank you to the Hall of Fame board and its members. I also know many of you personally, and I'd like to thank you for all the work you do in putting this event together, volunteering your time to preserve Regina sports history. Special thank you to my family. They're all here tonight, sitting over there. I met my wife Denise in high school. She's never seen a summer where I haven't been playing fastball, coaching baseball, running the Sox, or coaching the kids baseball and softball, usually all at the same time. Thank you for your continued love and patience. Thanks to Tanner and Natasha, my two kids, for supporting me over the years. They have their own kids now and are starting to coach and are going to make real fine coaches in their own right. When I started reflecting on my speech about why I do what I do and all the hours I volunteer, it pointed back to my upbringing in Cupar, where my dad, Joe, was a teacher. Volunteering and helping out came to me honestly. In a small community like that, you had to chip in and do what you had to do. And I know there's lots of people in this room from small towns. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When it came time to get hockey going, we were there all night flooding the ice, usually at about age 16, 2 4-pack in the room, going all night, all day, all night till Sunday morning. And man, we had ice in like 3 long days. So that's kind of what it was like growing up in Cupar. If you complained about the grass and the ball diamonds being too long, next thing you know, I was dragging a 24-inch more behind my bike, cutting the whole damn diamond by hand with a push mower. So if you wanted stuff done, you basically had to do it or it didn't get done. So yeah, I'd like to thank community of Cupar for sure for getting me on the right track. Fast forward to my adult years, I pushed my 2 kids into sports: baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball, badminton. They played it all, and it was some great times. Loved watching them play. And of course, behind the Brotzel athletic machine was my wife, Denise, often and still planning all our family events around my schedule and the kids' sports schedules. I know many people in this room can relate to that. Who in the room had that calendar on your fridge with 4 different colors for each kid and each sport? And we had one, and it was darn full, I can tell you that. You can't properly measure the impact of sports that it plays on the lives of kids, for sure. Today I run into lots of kids I coached, many of my own kids' friends, and every one of them, I met a few tonight here, every one of them's doing great in life, and I attribute that to sports and all the and everything you get from it. Closing, I'd like to thank Bernie for close to 25 years. We've been coaching, managing, building baseball in Regina. We both got involved because our kids were playing. They're long done, and we're not done. We're still doing it. And I think Bernie's going to touch a little bit more about our time with the Red Sox, but I can tell you it started when our kids were 8 years old and progressed right up through the Western Canadian Baseball League, and we're still going strong. Just on another note, I know everybody knows our request to get a new ball diamond built in Regina. Please email your city councilors, let them know you support the project. Had to get one last plug in for that, so I'll turn it over to Bernie.
Going to cross off getting political. Thanks. I'm honored to be installed in the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. And like Gary, probably, I don't know if it's fair, but I do know several of the board members. Rod Schmidt and I played basketball together. Well, I shouldn't say played. He played, I sat on the bench. I was the enforcer on the grade 12 team. Bernie Rippinger sent me out there when he needed, on a basketball team. He made me hit guys and stuff like that. But yeah, and we got a couple of Red Sox board members on the Sports Hall of Fame board, so that helps, you know. But, you know, I'm honored and humbled by it, so thanks very much. I'm not gonna, you know, I got a whole bunch of, I was gonna get into a few jokes here, but my grandchildren are sitting there telling Grandpa, you're not funny. So I'll leave that. I just wanted to touch on one thing. My granddaughter, Sophia, is in grade 10 at O'Neill now. Just got her learner's license yesterday. Be afraid. But there's so, when I was a police officer, I was a resource officer at O'Neill in the 80s when Brad Horning was there, and Leanne, and little Frolic that's here, and Iannone, a few others. And you know, I had to remind Al Collins that Stouse and I coached that girls softball team to the city championship. So we were a winning team even back then. Of course, we was on the arm of Leanne Horning, which helped a lot. I'm especially honored to be up here with Gary, the hardest working person I know. He is. He built all those buildings there at Curry. I have to laugh when I see the beer shack, and it's got a list of the names of the people that helped build the beer shack, and Gary Brotzel, Canner Brotzel, he's got my names on there. I made sure I got there about 11:30 on Saturday, ordered pizza and a 24 pack. That was that's what I did while those guys were building it. So he built the beer shack, the 2 decks, the ticket office. He's the hardest working person I know. and it's a privilege to work with them. In 2004, we brought a bunch of people together to start the Regina Red Sox kind of over again. We kind of jumped onto the old name. 10 people, local people, put $500 in each and got a franchise in the Western Baseball League, Western Canadian, well, it was Western Major Baseball League back then. And we built the franchise from there. Our first year, we were terrible, but we learned a lot. And we've made the playoffs every year since. Had a couple championship teams. We made a really good move by hiring a local guy, Rob Sharapustuk, as our coach. My son, of course, played for 4 years and coached for 4 years. He was assistant for 3 years, and then his last year he coached. In 2012, we won a championship. And him and Rob are still running. They have 90 kids, students at Martin High School in baseball, and they're running the Martin Academy there. So it's still going strong. A baseball, it's kind of like Dick Wiest when he used to be a high school teacher and never got out of his sweats. I mean, that's what they do. they just hit ground balls and fungos all day. It's been a great run and a great time, and I know Chris said I was still GM, but I actually officially stepped down this summer. I only made it to 2 of my grandson's baseball games this year, so I'm going to go to a few more next year, and I'm going to have somebody else who's going to do it. But it's been fantastic, and you know, I love baseball so much. I played for the Holy Cross Pacers way back, and with the Pacers all through Optimist years. And then I stopped playing baseball. By the time I was 19, I was a cop. And, you know, I would make the joke that I went and broke up the party that I was at the night before. And I was way too young, but I was lucky to be a police officer and proud to be a police officer and serve in Regina for 26 years. Actually, I was telling Frank Kovacs we need more cops in the Hall of Fame. And with the police, I was a police officer for 26 years. I still do a lot of association work, bargaining for the police, and I'm also in a couple of Hall of Honors with the Canadian Police Association and the Regina Police Association. But like Gary, probably the most important part of this whole thing is my family, and they're all sitting there in 2 tables, and I'm very proud of them. My 3 kids they're smart kids, U of R graduates, and they all know baseball. And you have to understand, if you don't understand the game of baseball, it's kind of like me with soccer. Like somebody says the score was 0-0, but it was a great game. And I'm going, I have no idea what you're talking about. And but it's a really it's a good game if you know the game. And my family loves the game and they know it. And I'm very proud of my kids, my grandchildren. I got 3 grandchildren. I'm about to get 2 more. New Year's Eve, my daughter's getting married. You're all invited. It's at the Delta. Come about 10 to maybe 11 o'clock to the Delta. We'll all be there having a party. And I'm getting 2 new grandchildren out of the deal too, so it's good. And of course, my biggest supporter, my wife, Diana, who is, right from the beginning, they're all volunteers, but now she's been running our concession. I think a lot of people come to our games because of our concession. It's a pretty good concession, and she works hard. All the kids work at it, and she's my rock, 46 years, and she's the love of my life and the best person I know. Thanks very much. Have a good night.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Chelsea Stone, an athlete in the sport of Taekwondo. Chelsea dominated her sport in a way that few in this city ever have. She was a member of the Canadian national Taekwondo team from 2000 through 2017 and won an unprecedented 19 national sparring titles. She won a silver medal in the sparring and a bronze in power breaking at the 2002 World Junior Championships, won a bronze medal in sparring at the 2009 Senior World International Taekwondo Federation Championships in Argentina, and again in 2017 at the World Championships in Dublin, Ireland. In a variety of events and divisions, up to black belt and heavyweight, Chelsea won 27 gold medals in Sask Cup events, 22 in Saskatchewan Championships, 31 in Western Canadian Championships, 26 more in Canadian Championships, and 18 internationally. The sport of Taekwondo has filled her trophy case, and it has also filled the pages of her passport. She's attended 9 World Championships with trips to New Zealand, Argentina, Ireland, and Poland under her black belt. Her travel diaries read like a Johnny Cash song. She's been everywhere, man. At international events, she served as team captain 5 times, winning 3 silver and 10 bronze medals. She was named Sask Sports Junior Female Athlete of the Year back in 2002, has given back to the sport as a coach, teaching introductory courses before becoming provincial coach in 2011, and became the first female head coach for the Canadian team at the 2015 World Championships in Jesolo, Italy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Chelsea Stone.
Good evening. When I was told that I would be able to say a little something tonight, about 3 to 5 minutes long, the first thought that came to my mind was, oh no, how am I gonna have the stamina to talk that long? So bear with me if I get a little bit short of breath mid-speech. First of all, I'd like to start out by congratulating all the other inductees for the 2022 class. So to Gary, Bernie, Jim, Brad, Boudreaux, Richard, and Dick, it truly is an honor to be included into such a group of such outstanding individuals. I'd like to thank the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for this wonderful evening and recognizing individuals and teams for their contributions and dedication to their sport since 2003. I've taken some time to read the accomplishments of the other inductees from previous years, and I was amazed at how remarkable each and every one of them are. Regina truly has produced outstanding sports enthusiasts, be it builder, athlete, or both. Without a doubt, the Regina Sports Hall of Fame Committee has a tough job each year selecting only a handful of inductees for their class each year, and I'm forever grateful that I am one of them for 2022. Next, I'd like to thank the Saskatchewan Taekwondo Federation and my instructor, Grandmaster Clint Norman, for nominating me for this prestigious award. When I first started training 28 years ago, I immediately fell in love with Taekwondo. However, at the time, I really had no idea to what extent it was going to impact my life. I'm very fortunate to be part of an organization that is so supportive of their athletes. STFI is a volunteer-based organization with an outstanding board of directors and volunteers who work hard to ensure that classes and tournaments are ran smoothly, are successful, and accessible to people of all ages, genders, and abilities. Some of our board members are here tonight, so to you I want to say I am extremely grateful for the countless hours you put to help make STFI what it is today, so thank you. And of course, my incredible parents, who have been my #1 fans and support since day one. I cannot thank you enough for all the years you were my backbone while I ventured around the world, chasing my dreams and competing for Canada. I'm sure it wasn't easy every time I stepped onto the plane, as young as 15 years old even, to travel internationally with our team. In fact, the very first time I was on a plane was when I qualified for my very first World Junior Championships, and the competition was held in North Korea. I've been so blessed to have been able to travel the world to places such as Poland, Argentina, Spain, Italy, New Zealand, just to name a few. My parents would often wake up at all hours of the night so they could watch my events once live streaming became a thing. They did that even knowing they had to work the next day too. I've been given the opportunity that a lot of people cannot say that they have done, and it's because of the support from my parents that I was blessed to experience all that I have. Taekwondo has taught me discipline, self-worth, dedication, hard work, perseverance, and what it means to be part of a team. So thank you to my mom and dad, Bob and Colleen, for enrolling me into Taekwondo at the age of 9, even though I didn't even really know what it was at the time, and helping to achieve my goals and chase my dreams all around the world. Thank you for being my #1 fans. And finally, thank you to my main squeeze, Chris. I know you said that you wish we had met before I retired from competition so that you could have watched me compete. And trust me, that is very thoughtful and sweet. But also trust me when I say that I think you're lucky you didn't have to experience the side of me that went through hangry weight cutting and weigh-ins and pre-tournament nerves. I'm sure it was not easy to be around at those times, and my parents can definitely attest to that. Perhaps you should be thanking me instead. So you did, however, come into my life at a very crucial time, which helped me to transition from being a high-performance athlete into retirement. It was difficult to decide to retire, as competition and being a member of Team Canada was such a huge part of my life since 2000. Being a competitor was all I knew, and no longer having that identity can be a tough pill to swallow. But Chris, your love and support throughout the past few years has not only made the transition into a retired athlete so much easier, but you've been by my side to experience an even greater achievement, which is being a loving partner and now mom. I can only hope that one day our boys will grow up and love Taekwondo as much as I have for the past 28 years. Thank you.
Our next inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame are Budrum and Richard Singh, patrons in the sport of cricket. Budrum and his son Richard played cricket long before focusing on promoting the sport. Budrum helped create the Saskatchewan Cricket Association back in 1972 and served as association director from 1977 through 1990. In that time, he was also busy working with Cricket Canada, serving as a 4-time manager of national teams traveling overseas. In his time as team manager, he had the opportunity to represent Canada at the international level in a variety of countries, including Jamaica, the Barbados, and a World Cup appearance in Holland. Not surprisingly, Budrum's involvement in the sport sparked his son to take interest in it as well. During Richard's 40 years as a player, he represented Saskatchewan on a number of national, junior, and senior teams. He was a critical figure in the growth and development of the sport here in Regina, as the city's league grew from 4 teams in its infancy to 45 teams today, with more than 650 players. The work to develop and deepen the footprint of the Regina Cricket Association and the Cavaliers Sports and Social Club has been instrumental for the growth of the sport of cricket here in Regina. Any summertime trip to the Douglas Park Oval will provide you with an accurate reflection of just how big cricket has become. In fact, the growth of the sport is so prolific that work is well underway to develop additional facilities in the city, which will only serve to increase the membership, the visibility, and the quality of cricket that is being played here. The work of the Singhs has helped to develop the SaskTel Junior Cricket Circuit, snow cricket at Winterfest, Canada Day exhibitions, various promotional events, Learn to Play clinics, and the Doug Hunter Memorial High School League, which ensures that the sport has presence in the school system here in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our newest inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Budrum and Richard Singh.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees into the Regina Hall of Fame. I started playing cricket when I was about 7 years old back in my home country of Guyana. That was a little over 70 years ago. I came to Regina, to the University of Regina. And one day I was walking in the park when a gentleman saw me and came out and asked me, "Hey, do you play cricket?" I played a lot of cricket back home, so I was very happy that I could get a game. So I went and played, and I was a student at the time, so it took me a couple of years to get into the Regina team. There was only one team. So we had to travel to Saskatoon to play that intercity game. And those games were far apart. Eventually, I got involved with a little bit of the administration of the Regina team. There was no growth. the people who came to Regina, who learned to play cricket in their home countries, never stayed in Regina very long. They either moved west to Vancouver or east to Toronto. Nobody stayed here. So we grabbed a couple of players, they stayed for a couple of games, and they were gone. So we start thinking that maybe if we were able to produce players right here, then we wouldn't have to worry about finding players. And it was tough. I got into the Canadian Cricket Association board, and what I noticed there, the first thing I noticed was that all the cricket were played in Ontario, from Ontario. Token games were given to Vancouver. Nothing happened for Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta. So I thought to myself, this doesn't make any sense. We have to change this. Ontario had 2 votes. We had 1 vote on the board. Alberta had 1 vote. British Columbia had 1 vote. Ontario always managed to run cricket in Canada. So a deal has to be made. So I set about making that deal with Nova Scotia, a have-not province. Alberta voted with Ontario. It's a tie vote. I held the key vote. How I voted ran the association, Canadian Cricket Association, and I used it to the maximum. I lobbied the association, the Canadian Cricket Association, that we must find enough funds to develop junior cricket in Regina. And they agreed. For that, the association, the Canadian Cricket Association, moved west. So we were able to get coaches, a full-time coach. I wrote up the program, junior development program, submitted to the Canadian Cricket Association and to SASPort, and received funding. We were able to hire a full-time coach to go into the schools and to work with the recreation teachers so that we can get juniors involved. And it worked. It worked. It so happened that more immigrants visited our land, our city, and so the sport took off. As previously mentioned, we have now in excess of 35 teams. So the cricket is here to stay, and I'm very happy about that. A little bit about what cricket in Canada. Our team from Regina, our junior team, was visited Alberta. We were playing a game there, and I was sitting at the back of the scorer when he asked, "Who is that person who took the catch there?" This person standing at square leg. And someone said it was square leg. That was the fielder, the position of the fielder. Well, it so happened that the mother of that child was sitting nearby, and she said, "How dare you call my son a square leg?" Well, that's so much for that story. I'm very happy to be here this evening to receive this award. Never expected it, but it shows that people who serve their community, people are watching, people recognize your efforts, and I would encourage anyone who could come out and lend a hand, please do so. Volunteers are always needed. It's estimated that the people who volunteer to labor in Canada is something in the vicinity of $12 billion a year. that's how much you contribute. And I'm very happy that I was part of that. Thank you very much.
I'd like to congratulate all the inductees tonight. You know, I was listening to Chris here and I had an aha moment for a second there. So my dad started as a director in 1977 and I was born in 76. So I think I'm a cricket baby. And I was groomed for this from day one. As it's been 70 years in my household, I'd like to thank my wife and my 2 kids because they put up with a lot. It's been long weekends. As you guys know, cricket can be an 8-hour game. So it is a challenge for sure. I've been fortunate. I was able to play as a child and travel all over, and I got a lot of opportunities. And I went all over Canada, and I had every opportunity to play high level. And my dad made that happen, absolutely, for all the work he did. So I am the benefit of that, and I've tried to carry on for where he left off. And when he moved away, I took over. And I've been participating as long as I can right now. I'm still playing. I'm the old guy now, though, when I was just the kid on the field. I am happy to say that my team won provincials, and we are going to represent Saskatchewan next year in the Westerns in Canada. So I will be the old guy on the field, but yes, I will be there. So one thing I can say is that we don't do this for awards and we don't do this for recognition. We do it for development of the sport, and whether we're participating or we're supporting or we're creating. So it's all about that. It's about the kids, about moving the sport, keep going forward, and it's about the future. And I'm glad and I'm happy that I'm part of that, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I had some very good footsteps to follow in, and it was great to play with him, and now I'm kind of living up to his legacy and proud to be up here on stage with my dad. So thank you very much, everybody.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Dick Wiest, a builder in the sports of hockey and football. Had a chance to speak to a number of people in the room about how long Dick's been a fixture in the local coaching scene, and everybody seemed to suggest that it was 1,000,000 years. I asked him to put a bit of more of an accurate number on that, and he said 500,000. We came up with about 50 years. So Dick's been a fixture in the local coaching scene for nearly half a century. Organized and coached the inaugural University of Regina Women's Hockey Club team back in 1997 and 1998, winning the Saskatchewan Senior A Championships and leading to the establishment of the women's hockey program as a varsity sport at the university. Dick coached a variety of minor hockey teams in Regina over the years, winning 1 provincial and 2 city championships in the mid-1980s before setting up programs through his North Regina Hockey Camp. The North Regina Hockey Camps were instrumental in helping teachers and other coaches get girls involved in the sport of hockey. You can very clearly see the effects of the work Dick led in the 1980s when you see the robust numbers of female hockey players at the Hockey Regina level to this day. Dick would certainly be the first to tell you that there were others who had a hand in the growth and development of the female game, but there is absolutely no doubt that he played an instrumental role in the evolution of the popularity of hockey for girls. He sponsored and organized Regina's first female hockey camp in 1989 and coached the city's first 18 and under girls team, the Blades, to a provincial final. A longtime teacher and hockey player, he also served on the Saskatchewan Amateur Hockey Association and Queen City Minor Hockey Association executives, overseeing female hockey. Equally accomplished in football as a builder, Dick coached the Miller football team to city and provincial high school championships back in 1970 and again in 1971. The Miller teams were led by the likes of Brian O'Hara, Jerry Inglis, and Lenny Knoll, but it all came together under Dick's tutelage and influence. He earned the 1993 Award of Merit and a 20-year Distinguished Coaching Award from the Regina High Schools Athletic Association. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the newest inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Dick Wiest.
I'd like to thank the board for this induction. I'd also like to let everyone know how many hours they do put in volunteering for this Hall of Fame event. I'd like to also congratulate the other inductees in 2022. I'd like to thank Rob Pine for submitting my application for this induction. I had several people support this application for induction. Jim Audling, who was a former executive of the Hockey Regina, and Bob Belfer, a longtime friend and co-coach in the female hockey program. We could go along on that for quite a while because they were one of the first teams to come in from Sedley. They were all ringette, but they all became hockey players very quickly. Also another support was from Barry Wolbaum, who was involved with coaching with me and for a number of years, and he did a lot of clinics in Saskatchewan for hockey. But we also did the hockey school with Danny Banda, and that started back in 1973. So we've been around for a while, and it's going to be the 50th year this next year. I'm not doing it anymore. You have the love of the game, but when you can't get out there to do it as the kids are doing it, you kind of sit back and say it's someone else's turn. So, but 40-some years was enough. I'd like to thank Pat Fiacco because he gave us the slogan, "I love Regina." I was born here, raised here, and I played hockey here and football and baseball. There's no such thing as one sport in our era. Everyone played sport, and they loved the sport. I think as I had the opportunity to coach a lot of kids, a lot of athletes, and I'm thankful for that. We didn't always coach my own kids. I coached thousands of other kids, and I hope that they're all better for it, and I'm better for it. The people that provided these opportunities for me, I grew up in the late 40s and early 50s. People that were involved in administration at the city of Regina, like Jack Staples, he was at the hockey rink. They spent every Saturday with us at the hockey rink. He wasn't just an administrator. He helped in the sport, to develop the sport. And some of you may remember the Cartouche name, Mike Cartouche. Every Saturday morning, he was there. So they fostered the hockey program. But we had others. We had Charlie Leibel and Murray Sawa. You may remember these names. Well, those people started us in football when we were 8 and 9 years old. And I had an opportunity to participate in that. The baseball programs and the football programs were all sponsored by the Kiwanis, the Optimists, the Foresters, and the Legion track came into play as well. I don't want to leave out track and field because that was our #1 sport in the province in our schools. And the reason is it involves every kid. Every kid can run. Every kid can participate. We don't get that in the team sports because that's a little different. There's a very select group that makes those teams, eh? But in track and cross country, everyone can take part. I think the schools and our home still have to be involved with development of sport. And they're even saying it again, this old hat. We've got to get our kids active. It's worse now than it was 10 years ago. Now it's even worse, they say. So as parents and as coaches, and you're all volunteers, it's very important that we instill the fact that these kids have to be active. And they're going to grow strong. You don't grow strong by sitting watching TV or playing on the iPad or whatever. That's not going to happen. So, and we as parents and coaches, the volunteers that are here, we're all volunteers. We're the role models. Don't forget that. We're the role models. Those kids never forget you. Never. Okay? All right. I have my family's all here. The matron of the family's here, my wife, 52 years. and it's been good. But but she'd have to say something about that. She was an athlete too. She did track at Martin and basketball, and at the U of R as well. She did basketball. So she was fairly very active as well. Now we had 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy. Well, Michelle's our oldest, and she's a teacher. And prior to that, when she grew up here, in about grade 9, she fell in love with cross country and track. Became the provincial champion in both areas. So she did 4 years on that, and did a lot of traveling. She's almost like a protege of Steve Gersten. I don't want to leave any of these names out. Steve spent 25 years here with our kids in track and cross country, and he was a dentist. So anyway, that wasn't enough. She went to the States on a scholarship, but she graduated in U of S in the same college as I did. They thought that I was a ex-NHLer. That's what they tell her, and I had to correct her on that. I said, anyway, we're Huskies. We're Huskies, that's what we are. But she came back and she played hockey. You know, she didn't play hockey before. She just did the camps with us. But she came back and played hockey. She has 2 children. One is age 12, and she is in high-level gymnastics. This is in BC, Comox, eh? So there's not much ice out there. We're a hockey family. Everyone plays hockey here in Regina. So, and then the other one is in high-level soccer in Victoria. So my daughter is traveling to Victoria 4 times a week. That's 2.5 hours or 3 hours one way, 4 times a week. And she teaches till 4 o'clock. I don't know how she does it. That's my oldest daughter. The second daughter is Diana. She's here with her friend Neil. She was in the first hockey programs for the girls back in 1989 and 90. She was on the SAS First program, and she played on our first midget female team. It was easy to get older girls involved with the hockey, but you know, there was something wrong. The little boys, they start when they're 5 and 4. So, hey, I said, well, I'll come on the board, but I want to look after the female hockey program. So that's where it started, and we got the cooperation of the city for this, but no other city was getting that problem. You know, you could talk to a lot of other cities. There's no way the girls are going to get ice to play hockey, but it happened in Regina. But it was not easy, but once the girls started coming and expanding the program, then it took off. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here. So Diana, she's still involved with hockey. She still skates. She still plays. And now she's coaching a group of young girls and boys in Kimberley. They're all away. These guys all have to travel to come here today. Comox, Kimberley, Airdrie. I don't know how they made it, but they did come. And I appreciate that. My third daughter is Stephanie. Well, she played some sports, softball. Her dad was the coach. And then she started hockey, but at age 7. But there was no girls playing hockey. She was one of 2 girls in the city playing hockey. That was in 1990. So what happened was I needed some experience. We're trying to start a novice team with 6 and 7 year olds. Well, who are they going to play? well, you have to play the boys. 2 or 3 play the boys. That wasn't gonna happen. So they backed out that year. So we just had an Adam team and we had a Pee Wee team. And Stephanie was on the Pee Wee team. She chaired the Pee Wee team because she was 11. She was on the boys team, but I said, I need you here. Okay. And then we had Trina Rissling would be in the Bantam or midget team. That's how we had to get the teams going. It took time, a lot of time. So eventually it happened. So Stephanie, she gets a chance to play with a team. She's the only girl from Regina picked, but there's other girls from Sedley. They were pretty good. She got picked on the Canada Winners Games team. Well, the story goes here. Saskatchewan comes second in Canada. The boys come first in the gold medal. It's never happened since then. And that was in 1995. So we were ahead of the curve a bit with our female program. The boys, it's always going to be tough. But that was quite an accomplishment for them. Well, Stephanie went on to play at the U of R. Well, we had a club team first. And myself and Bob Belfer and Tom Riffle, we got the team going. So, hey, they weren't just going to come and just go for a free skate. They were in the league because I was involved with the Regina hockey program. I put them in the league. They played 25, 28 games, and then they played playoff games, and then they went on to win the provincial with the senior level. So that's how the girls' team went at the university. Well, Stephanie went on later on, and she decided she's going to go back to school, and she's got a BA in kinesiology. She's got a few other initials behind her name, but she still plays hockey, and she has two children, and they both play hockey in Kimberley. The last child is Jonathan. Well, Jonathan was quite a kid, and a very good athlete. He's one of the top kids in Regina in the minor program, but he went on to play high school hockey. He has 3 children. They all played hockey. And to this date, the one boy is under U11, and plays out of Airdrie. And the daughter, one of the daughters, she also plays. And she plays boys. They're still behind us there. They don't have all the girls' teams yet, because we had the girls' teams right away, the women. All right, so now Jonathan's here with his wife, Alicia. She's pretty active, and she keeps the household going, because he's a businessman, and he coaches 2 teams. I don't know how he does it. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Brad Horning, a builder in the sport of hockey. Now, anybody who's been involved in hockey in Regina for more than about 10 minutes knows the name Brad Horning. Now, even for the people outside of our community, some recognize the name. Some have a vague recollection of the circumstances that put his name into prominence. But as so many of us in the room know, there was so much more to Brad's story than his injury and how his life changed in an instant. Often forgotten is just how good a player he was. He was a key contributor with the Regina Pat Canadians and chosen captain of Team West in the 1985-86 SO Cup. Represented Canada internationally before joining the Pats at the start of the 1985-86 season. He made a significant impact in his rookie year, scoring 17 goals and adding 18 assists in 64 games. And the following season, he increased on those totals, scoring at a rate of more than a point a game with 32 goals and 66 points over 61 games. It was in the late stages of the 86-87 season that Brad's life changed when his hockey career came to a premature end. And despite the adversity that he faced, Brad pushed forward with life, completing his high school education before eventually pursuing and receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree in history from the University of Regina in 1996. He worked diligently with faculty, staff, and students to use experimental voice recognition technology to take notes, do assignments, and exams, all required to complete the bachelor's degree. Brad continued to prioritize his education and was recognized for his perseverance and inspiration when he was conferred an honorary Doctor of Laws from the University of Regina in 2018. In addition to pursuing his education, Brad continued to be a part of the hockey community, hired as an intern by the Chicago Blackhawks in 2001, ultimately becoming a scout for the team and a member of the National Hockey League Central Scouting Bureau for decades, which saw him attend games throughout the province and attend the league's annual amateur draft. The Western Hockey League honors Brad by presenting the Brad Horning Trophy to the league's most sportsmanlike player. And of course, he remained a fixture at the Brand Center for a number of years, where his number 8 proudly hangs from the rafters, retired by the team. Sadly, Brad passed away in February following a brief but courageous battle with cancer, but we are very honored to have several members of the family here tonight as he takes his rightful place in the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, here to accept Brad's induction into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, his sister Leanne.
I wanted to congratulate all the other inductees tonight, Budgerman Richards, Chelsea, Gary and Bernie, Dick. Seeing a lot of these faces, I feel like I'm back in high school at O'Neill. But I wanted to thank all of you and congratulate all of you on your contribution to sport and to the city of Regina. And thank you to the selection committee from the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for inviting my mom and I here tonight, and of course for honoring Brad. I also wanted to give special thanks to the people who nominated Brad, who are all here tonight: Ed Stanowski, John Burwell, and Father Basil. Obviously, for many reasons, we wish Brad could be here. You probably more so, because he could listen to him give a good speech, whereas that's not my thing, but I'm gonna do the best I can. Brad was an incredible person, not just a brother, but a friend, son, of course. And he felt a special dedication to the city of Regina and the province because of everything that the city and the province did for him after his injury. And he was very proud to be from Regina. And I know he'd be so honored to be inducted here tonight. Obviously, Brad had a lot of physical limitations, but his resilience was second to none, as I say, obviously. His courage to accept his injury not only guided our family, but many of his teammates have told me, you know, his ability to accept what was gonna happen is what helped them to deal with it as well, because they were all young boys at the time and didn't know what was going on. And Brad just accepted it, because that's how he had to. I mean, what else are you gonna do? He was never bitter towards hockey. He loved the game. He watched the Pats games in person, obviously. NHL.com all the time when he wasn't, and that's what led to him scouting with Chicago. And I luckily got to go with him to Nashville for a draft one year, which was great. But Brad loved all sports. Baseball, he played baseball, as someone said, it's not a one sport. It wasn't a one sport growing up. He played baseball in the off season, and he loved the Yankees, much to the chagrin of Father Baz and my grandpa, who are diehard Blue Jays fans. Brad was not. Yeah. Undoubtedly, Brad's strength and resilience come from both my parents, actually. My dad's first words to Brad after his injury were, "Look, you're not gonna feel sorry for me, and I'm not gonna feel sorry for you." And those are the words that serve Brad, and really all of us, continues to serve us, but serve Brad the rest of his life. You know, someone in his situation has so many struggles that I had never realized, obviously, my parents didn't know about, and most of you probably don't know about unless you're in his shoes, but little daily struggles that happen that he just dealt with and just realized that's what you have to do. It would frustrate Mom and I probably more than him. But he never really ever did feel sorry for himself, which is hard to believe. He respected the cards he was dealt at the time, and he was determined to live the best life that he could. And he was blessed with many great friends and family, not just me, but friends like Hollis, family like Neil, Carol, and Barron and Bill, who are here today. So all of those people helped to make Brad's life better. He was a source of inspiration to many, as I've been told, especially after his untimely passing. But his strength really is what helped Mom and I after my dad died in 2001, as he seamlessly and effortlessly became our rock and our voice of reason and the person we went to whenever we needed advice, or in the case of Mom, to just calm down, relax, everything's fine. Mom goes off the handle quite a bit. But speaking of Mom, the pain she's endured and yet handled with such grace her whole life is amazing. And I know on occasion like today, Brad would want me to thank her as well. Thank her for 35 years of dedication to Brad. She cooked him supper every night because he wasn't eating any hospital food until COVID hit. Ooh, that was a bad stretch. But she did his laundry and spent her days providing whatever assistance he needed. Brad wasn't much for saying it, as she knows, but he loved and appreciated all that she did. And he told me that in his final days. So it's been a very difficult year for Mom and I think we're still struggling with the fact that he's not here. But days like this, that we can celebrate him and honor the man he was, it makes it a little bit easier for us. And to paraphrase my father from 1987 after Brad's injury, in these dark days, the thought of Brad's smile can brighten them up. And I know Brad is smiling down on us all right now. So thank you again. Congratulations to everybody, and I hope you all enjoy your evening.
Our final inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Jim Hobson, a builder, an athlete in the sport of football. Jim's contributions to the game of football go back more than 50 years, first as a player and then as an executive. He played offensive line for the Tom Trojans and the Regina Rams, winning back-to-back national junior championships in 1970 and again in 1971. Before embarking, it was also named the league's top lineman before embarking on a four-year pro career that ended after the Riders lost the 1976 Grey Cup to Ottawa. From there, Jim embarked on a career in education. He began teaching after earning an education degree at the University of Regina, earned a master's degree from the University of Oregon, go Ducks, and moved up administratively to become the Director of Education for the Capel Valley School Division. The game was still a bit part of his life during his teaching years, as Jim had served for 4 years on the Rough Riders Board of Directors as the team's alumni representative, and not surprisingly coached football, as well as various hockey, soccer, and baseball teams as a teacher. After his career as an educator and administrator, Jim found the perfect marriage of profession and passion when the Saskatchewan Roughriders named him as the president and CEO in 2004, a position that he would spend the next 10 years in. Jim's arrival to the position brought a level of business structure that the team had been lacking, and under his guidance as an executive, the team flourished both on the field and financially. From 2005 through 2014, the Riders would play in 4 Grey Cup games, winning in 2007. But perhaps the hallmark moment for Jim's time at the Riders' helm was in 2013, with Regina serving as the host city. The Rough Riders staged a hugely successful Grey Cup week, and of course capped it off by winning at Mosaic Stadium over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The success that the Riders enjoyed on the field translated into success in the books, as the Riders realized unprecedented profits for a community-owned franchise, and he was part of the early development and planning for the Riders' move from their existing stadium to the brand new football stadium that's 200 yards away. Jim's induction into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame tonight is just the latest in a long list of acknowledgements and accolades. He was inducted into the Rough Riders Plaza of Honor in 2018, the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2019, and the Mike Ditka Gridiron Greats Hall of Fame in 2022. He's been awarded the University of Regina's Lifetime Achievement Medal, the CFL's Distinguished Leadership Award, the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal, and the Saskatchewan Centennial Medal, and tonight adds another to his list of lengthy and deserved honors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Jim Hopson.
Thank you. I think I better start out by saying that my friend Paul Somm kind of sums it up. After this latest honor, he said to me, "Aren't they running out of Hall of Fames to put you in?" And I think they're getting close, folks. But I'm very honored to be here. I feel very blessed. I feel I've had a blessed life, and certainly all these honors and recognitions are much appreciated. I really need to thank you all for being here, not just for myself, but my fellow inductees. We really appreciate your attendance and support. And I'd like to thank Daryl for my nomination and the board for the support and for what they do every year. I'm very fortunate to be going with a great group of people. Listening to the stories and the accomplishments has really been nice, and so congratulations to them. I have many of my family here tonight, starting with my mother, the matriarch of the family. All these honors are nice, but one of the ones I received is they named a park after me in the city, but my mom says that's not really named after me, that's named after her. And I think as the matriarch of the family, there's a lot of truth in that. Thanks to my siblings, I have siblings here, and my daughter and her family, and my son and his partner. I really appreciate your support, your love, not just throughout my whole career and my life, but particularly over the last 18 months as we faced some challenges, and they've been tremendous. I really need to acknowledge my wife, who's been my rock for a very long time and the love of my life, and very supportive. And yes, she deserves a lot of accolades for her support of me. This is, I have received a lot of accolades, and sometimes I'm humbled by them, and I'm kind of embarrassed sometimes because none of us achieve anything by ourselves. And so much of what I was able to accomplish in my life was because of people in this room and my family, my friends, the alumni, and just the list goes on and on. So I always remember that none of us accomplish anything by ourselves. But this acknowledgement is kind of special to me, being a Regina boy. Born and raised in Regina, north of Dudney, NOD, went to Imperial School, Tom Collegiate, and University of Regina, yes, and very proud of that. And so to be acknowledged nationally is something, but be acknowledged in your own hometown is really special. And so I really do appreciate this. And it's also kind of extra special for me because I'm joining people that mean a lot to me and have meant a lot to me in my life. Doug Killow, who was my coach with the Rams, teammates like Frank McChrystal, Bernie Schmidt, Rob Pine, Al Ford, and friends like Lanny Antonini, who's here tonight, and Kelly Hamilton, God rest his soul, Greg Feger, alumni. And so it means a lot to be going in with those people, and I really appreciate that. I could stand up here, and there's so many people I could acknowledge, my friends, my family, my colleagues, but I just want to tell a couple of stories about what sport meant to me and the impact it had on my life. I was not a great athlete growing up, and I didn't play a lot of organized sport. So when I got to Tom Collegiate in grade 9, I didn't participate in any of the activities outside of the classroom. I was a pretty good student, but I basically went to school and I went home. But towards the end of grade 9 and so on, there was a young teacher there who was a head football coach, Lauren Schmier, and Lauren's here tonight. And Lauren decided I was going to play football. And he just got after me. And, Lauren is a very warm and caring individual. Not really, but he made sure that he wanted me to play football. And there was another teacher there, Len Legault, my French teacher, who played with the Riders, and he also encouraged me. So I went out and I played in grade 10. I was a late start. And it literally changed my life. And it wasn't because it was football, because I experienced it in other sports and I've seen it in other sports, but it just changed my life. It gave me confidence. It gave me a feeling of belonging. It gave me a feeling of camaraderie and teamwork and discipline and all the things we learned from sport. And I loved it. And I found out that I was a pretty good football player. So I played in high school. Not only did I play football, I went on school council and I got involved in other sports. And so my life really changed because of football. And I can say that about, and we've heard it from Dick and we've heard it from others about the sports they've been involved in, Taekwondo and so on. And what I learned was that as an educator later in my life, that it's not really your educational background, your academic transcript that determines what happens later on in life. It's your involvement in extracurricular activities. It's your involvement in sport. It's your involvement in those outside activities. And there's a lot of proof in that. And so I became a big supporter of extracurricular, not just football, but drama and band and all those things, because that's where kids really learn the skills to get them through life. So I'd like to acknowledge not only Lauren, but all of the teachers, all the people I worked with, and what it means to get involved in extracurricular, and particularly sports, hockey, football, whatever it is. So thank you for that. I also need to acknowledge that when you stand up here and you get these awards, it's really not you so much that is being recognized, but it's all the people that help you achieve the goals you had. And I was the CEO, and yes, I had to set the direction and all that sort of thing, but it's all those people, and I could stand up here and so many of you are in the room and I could acknowledge you, but I want to mention one person who meant so much to my success in the Riders and who I believe should be in this hall as well at some time, and that's Steve Mazurik, and Steve's here. And Steve was my first, yes. And I could pick out many others, but I hired Steve my first day on the job, and we played together on the Rams and played together on the Riders, and then we worked together for 10 years with the Riders. But so much of what we did around marketing and merchandise, the new stadium, sponsorships, that was Steve. That wasn't Jim. I supported Steve, and I was very, very happy to help when I could, but it was Steve that did so much to make the team successful, and he's one of the reasons that I'm standing here. And I really think Steve should be here someday as well. So let's work on that, Steve, okay? But anyway, thank you. This means a lot to me. It means a lot to my family. It means a lot to my family and friends, and many of you here, and I really appreciate that. I would like to end by just saying that I feel very blessed, not just to receive this award, but I think I've had an unbelievable life. And I look forward to more years. But over the last 18 months, I've been battling stage 4 colon cancer, which kind of puts things in a different perspective. And I've had so much support from so many people in this room, from my family, my immediate family, my siblings, and my friends, the Rider alumni, and so on. And it means a lot. And one of the things that really has struck me throughout all this is that don't wait until you're sick. Don't wait until your friends, your family get sick to tell them how much you care about them, what they mean to you, and how much you love them. And I think all of us are a little guilty of that. We take it for granted, but this kind of brought things front and center for me, and so I've really tried to do that. I always tried to do it, but more so now. And I have to say that other than my wife, I've probably kissed Steve Mazurik and Roger Aldag more the last 18 months than anybody else. And it's not bad. So, although sometimes Steve gets a little wet and sloppy, but anyway. So tell those you love them, and thank you very much. Thank you again to the board and everything you do to make this a special event in the city. And congratulations to the inductees. Enjoy it. And glad to be here, and I hope to be here next year. Thank you.
That brings a close to our induction ceremonies tonight. A reminder that you can learn a little bit more about all of our inductees, both those who went into the hall tonight and those who have gone in previous years, at the Regina Sports Hall of Fame's permanent display on the main floor of the Cooperator Center, and that you can also get information on nominating someone for future induction, like Steve Mazurek, by visiting the website. As always, I would like to thank the committee for their work on this event. As Jim says, this is certainly a challenge to put this together every year, and it comes together brilliantly thanks to the diligent work of the board. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors, all of whom are listed in the program here tonight. As has been the case for the last number of years, it has been an absolute delight to be on hand this evening for this event, to hear the stories and celebrate the accomplishments of all of our worthy inductees. Thank you again for coming. We look forward to seeing you again next year and welcoming another class of deserving inductees into our Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. Have a good night.